everyone, what is up and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Asselin and I upload college and lifestyle vlogs and videos all the time, so you should totally go ahead and click the subscribe button down below so you can stick around and see all the videos in the future to come. If you haven't been watching my vlogs or following me on Instagram, which you totally should be following me if you haven't already, because I have tons of awesome New York pictures that I've been posting, and that's what this video is all about, is my trip to New York. A lot of you guys were commenting on my pictures and asking if I vlogged the trip and everything. And as much as I wanted to be vlogging it traditionally and like speaking to the camera and everything, I really wanted it to be more of like a travel diary type of setting, just because I was seeing so many things for the first time. So I really wanted to just document those things that I saw and just make this video a little bit more of like a travel diary and like artsy, artistic type of just recap of what I did. Also, if you want to just go and see some of the things I did on my Instagram, that like if I say something in the video and you want to go see like what that thing looked like other than what I showed in the video, if you go to my travel highlight on my Instagram page, on my profile, towards the end of the highlight, there will be my 2 days in New York. At the end of each day I was there, I did a recap of the day with pictures from each thing I did. I did one picture, sometimes two, for each thing I did, just to like kind of show what I did while I was there. But yeah, this video I'm just going to be, you'll pretty much just see everything I did and I'll have it voiced over and me talking about everything I did, but I just wanted to have a formal intro so it just didn't start with a voiceover. Basically, I have never been to New York before and I'm almost 21, and I've actually had an obsession with the city since I was probably 15. I don't know what made me get the obsession, but like something in me, like I just knew that that city was just, I would fall in love with it if I ever did go, and I was in love with it and I'd never even been. I had been dying to go through all of high school. My high school actually went on a like 24-hour bus trip to New York during spring break all the time, but I played volleyball and it was always in the middle of like club volleyball season, so I could never go, or it was just expensive and I would say, oh, I'll go next year, and then I'd be on the wait list or something and not make it to the trip. So I just haven't had the opportunity to go yet, and my dad had to go to Jersey for work, and then we just kind of decided to make a weekend out of it, and it was my parents and then me and my boyfriend. So it was a great trip. I am so blessed to have been able to go. It was an amazing experience. It exceeded my expectations for sure. It's the biggest city I've ever been to. It was such an awesome experience. But yeah, just to give you guys like a rundown, I probably spent 10 to 15 hours cumulative, like in total, planning for this trip. Obviously not in one sitting. There were some days over Christmas break where I spent 3 or 4 hours on my computer watching New York vlogs, or New York travel diaries, or looking up food and restaurants on Yelp, or just on Instagram, hashtags New York City food, New York City foodie. I put a lot of effort into planning this trip. Everyone in my family kind of lays everything on me when we go somewhere, because they know that I can pick good places to eat and it'll never let us down, and good places to go. So, you know, I knew every tourist spot we needed to hit. I knew, you know, like the good restaurants in each area. However, this trip was not focused on food, I will say. We really only went to one restaurant the whole time, and then the rest of them were just like quick in and out places. I did love everything we did eat though, and next time I go, it will definitely be like a foodie New York trip, because I really want to experience more food in New York, because from what I know, it's just amazing no matter what you get. I just wanted to throw that out there, that I put a ton of planning into this trip, and I do know that I'm actually like really impressed with how I planned everything out, because I made sure to look up the map and see like what went best, like what days it was best to see what things. I did get Top of the Rock tickets in advance. I highly recommend doing that for sunset. It's amazing. You'll see. I only took a total of 4 Ubers, I think, through our 2 days there. I was only there for 48 hours. I got there on a very late on a Thursday night at like 12:30 at night. Drove into the city with my dad. My dad had a rental car and we parked it in 24-hour parking on Friday, and then we got started pretty late on Friday, so we were only there like probably from 10 or 11ish on Friday until Saturday night, and then Saturday night we went back to New Jersey, because we stayed by the airport the night I flew in and the night I flew out, and then I stayed at the Hilton Times Square on Friday night. So Friday and Saturday were our only days in the city, so we really only had 48 hours in the city, and we walked a total of 24 miles, and we only have 4 Ubers in those 2 days. So I think our Ubers that we did, we went from like the Wall Street area to Brooklyn, like the Brooklyn Bridge, and then because it was just too cold to walk, and then we took an Uber from Central Park, like the very north end of Central Park where the Metropolitan Museum is, and then we took an Uber from there to Chelsea, and then I took like 2 other random ones. I don't remember where they were from and to though, but I just wanted to tell you guys that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, just be sure to give it a thumbs up and enjoy, and let me know what your favorite part of New York is, and leave recommendations down below for anyone else that's about to go or will be going soon or wants to see other things. The one thing we did not see was Statue of Liberty. We saw it from a distance in Battery Park, but we were going to do a ferry, but it was just too cold and it was going to take up too much of our time to do the Staten Island ferry and go by it. And we all said that it was something we would wait to do till later. We also did not see any Broadway shows just because, once again, we had 2 days and we just didn't want to spend our time walking around a museum or seeing a Broadway show, but those are things I would like to do in the future next time I go to New York. So I had to include the clips from us getting Chick-fil-A at the Birmingham airport. It's one of the 2 restaurants in the airport, and we left right after my class on Thursday, and we were definitely in a hurry, and we played lots of wordscapes on the plane and got through a lot of levels, and we unfortunately did not have the good side of the plane when we flew into New York City. We're in New York! Oh my god! Oh, I'm finally in New York for the first time ever. I'm so excited. There's no one here. It's so late. Oh my gosh. Traveling wasn't that bad. It's so cold. We're finally here. Yay! We made it. Like I said, we did rent a car, so we drove in Friday morning, kind of late-ish, around 10, and we drove by Grand Central Station. I was so amazed at my first look at it, and we stopped by Best Bagels and got some amazing homemade bagels, and they did not have the best coffee, but it was a very crowded place, so I definitely recommend going early. And then we went by the 9/11 Memorial, which was just so surreal and amazing to see. You have to go if you go to New York. I really want to come back and go to the museum, and we also just took a look at the One World Trade Center, and it was really just a beautiful area. Then we walked over to Wall Street, and Wall Street just had a lot to offer. There were a lot of different things to see, like Federal Hall. I originally was not planning on going to Federal Hall, but once I learned about it and learned that it was there, I definitely wanted to go, and the inside was absolutely beautiful, and we thought that was the most beautiful building ever, but we had no idea what we were in for the rest of the trip. And then of course seeing the New York Stock Exchange was a must for me. I'm into finance and stocks and everything, so I loved seeing that. And then we went and saw the Charging Bull, and it was very crowded, long lines, but we did manage to get a picture with the rear end of the bull. And then we walked over to the Battery Park area off of Wall Street, and we originally were planning on going on the Staten Island ferry to see the Statue of Liberty, but we did just walk around Battery Park a little bit, and we saw the Statue of Liberty from a distance, and my camera did not capture it very well, but it was still cool to see it from a distance. It was just too cold. And then we Ubered over to the Brooklyn Bridge, and the Brooklyn Bridge was definitely one of my favorite parts of the trip, and really just going over there is so cool, and walking on the bridge, it's just really cool to see all the cars underneath you and see the architecture of the bridge. It's very detailed, and I love how everything was so symmetrical, and just taking really cool pictures on the bridge is also really fun because you can get some great ones in portrait mode if you have an iPhone, or just get some great regular pictures. And we did not walk all the way across, we just walked about to where the water started, as you can see here. We wanted to at least walk to that point, but it was just very cold, so we didn't want to stay too long. But I really did love the bridge. It was definitely one of the highlights of the trip for me. And then we went over to the NYU area, and this was actually one of my dream schools, and I did apply, but I did not go because it was just too expensive. But I did love seeing the area. There's lots of beautiful buildings and good food, like this fry place. I cannot pronounce the name. I think it's Pommes Frites or something like that. But it looked like a little tavern, like RuneScape kind of, if you ever played that back in the day. But we got like a mango, pomegranate, truffle mayo, and garlic aioli sauce. And they were all so good, and we definitely needed a food break at this point. We were all so hangry, but getting some fries definitely cured that. And then after that, we went over to World's Best Cookie Dough. And I actually found them on Instagram, and I really just wanted to try it because it looked so good, because I love anything that is s'mores related or cookie dough related. And they had this cookie dough filled s'mores cookie, and it was really, really good and cured my sweet tooth for sure. And I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of the hotel. We did stay in the Hilton Times Square on Friday night after staying in Newark the night before, and I just absolutely love this hotel. Although it was small, the view was amazing, location was great, and I know it's not a very expensive hotel to stay in, especially for being in Times Square. And if your parents travel a lot like my dad does, then he had a lot of points. But I just absolutely loved all the floor-to-ceiling windows. It was so amazing. And then after resting for a little bit, we went to Los Tacos #1 downtown, or in Midtown, and this was very yummy, but we did have to stand to eat, and we went in a very crowded area, but it was so good. The tacos are to die for. And then we went into Times Square, which is basically in the area of Los Tacos #1, and this was also one of the best parts of the trip to me. It is a very touristy area, but I think everyone's first time just means so much to them, just because it's so vivacious and alive, and there's just so much going on, and you could people watch for hours, and it's just really a really cool area with all the lights and everyone walking around. And it's crazy to me how busy it is even in the off season, but I just absolutely loved seeing this area. And we also went to Zara and H&M after being in Times Square for a little bit, and I wasn't planning on going to Magnolia Bakery, but I did know about it, and when I found out how close we were to it when we were in Zara, we had to go get some banana pudding and try it out, and it is just as good as everyone says. Even if you don't like banana pudding, I promise you would like it. And we also got a carrot cake cupcake for my mom, and I actually liked that, and I don't even like carrot cake. And I also just really wanted to show you guys, I guess, me getting ready very early the next morning in the hotel room, because getting ready that morning just like gave me the chills, because getting ready with that city view behind me, oh my gosh, I wish I could do that every morning, because I just absolutely loved it. And we just ate breakfast at our hotel and took advantage of the free breakfast we had. It was good, and we did get a later start to the day than we anticipated, around 9:30 or 10, because we had to load up our car. And I did not have a good experience with coffee the day before, so I really wanted some good coffee, so we went to Joe and the Juice in Bryant Park, but they have many locations. I had an oat milk vanilla latte, and it was so phenomenal. And then we went to New York City Public Library, which is right next to Bryant Park as well, and right across the street from Joe and the Juice. And my mom really wanted to go here because she's an elementary school teacher, and she wanted to see the children books area, and then it's just really beautiful on the 3rd floor. And the outside architecture was amazing. Bryant Park was beautiful, but we couldn't go in it because of an event. But the inside of the New York Public Library is amazing, and there's a ton of movies filmed here, like The Day After Tomorrow and Sex and the City. Then we walked over to Grand Central Station, which was also a highlight of the trip, a huge Gossip Girl area, if you watch Gossip Girl, and the ceiling was really beautiful and awesome to look at, with all the zodiac signs and everything on the roof, and or on the ceiling, I guess, not the roof. But it was just so beautiful, and another great place to people watch. And once again, the architecture was awesome, and I wish we would have spent a little bit more time here, but we did only stay in here for like 5 or 10 minutes, and my mom got some hot chocolate. But we were a little bit on a time crunch because we knew we were having to go to Top of the Rock that night, so we were trying to do everything very quickly. And then we went to St. Patrick's Cathedral, which was my parents' favorite part of the trip. They just absolutely loved how beautiful it was. They love seeing beautiful churches, and they just have a lot of history, and as you can see, the detail in this building was absolutely phenomenal, and once again symmetrical, which is just like really cool to me. And there was actually a baptism of a little baby going on in one of the rooms while we were there, so that was kind of cool because we could watch it. And I just loved the big doors and the stained glass. All of that was so beautiful, and it was just so quiet and peaceful in there. And it's definitely a must-see. I honestly didn't put it on the itinerary until like the night before, because I knew we'd have time to see it because of its location, but I absolutely loved it. Then we walked over to Central Park and by the Plaza Hotel, and it was really cool to see the Plaza Hotel. I know it's really beautiful at Christmas time and decorated and everything. There's also a ton of luxury shops in this area, and I've actually never been in a luxury shop before, so I kind of wanted to go in one, but I knew that no one I was with would like want to go in one with me, so we were in a hurry too, so we just kind of looked around the area and we walked through Central Park. And I really did love Central Park, and I can't imagine how beautiful it is during the fall and spring, but I do wish that things were a little bit more alive when we went, because as you can see, it was just so frozen over and cold, and all the trees were just like bare and everything was dead, so I didn't like that aspect of it, but it was really cool. And we did walk the entire length of Central Park pretty much, because we went to the Metropolitan Museum from the plaza, which is like a pretty long walk. Really only a mile, but it's a lot after you've been walking a lot. But then we went to the Metropolitan Museum, and I just pretty much went here just to take pictures on the steps. Once again, another Gossip Girl iconic area, and we did not go inside, but the outside was absolutely beautiful. And then we Ubered over to Chelsea Market, and I was anticipating spending a lot more time here just because I had heard that you could spend hours here, and we would have, but it was very crowded. We were starving, we were hangry, we did not want to stand up and eat, so we wanted to sit down. And my friend that lives in New York was meeting us, that I went to school with, and it's a really great area with a lot of vendors and a lot of different places to eat, little produce markets, flower markets, all that kind of stuff. So it's super neat to see, but I do wish I could go back and see it more. And then we saw the High Line in Chelsea, which is a super cool old railroad thing that kind of goes over the streets, and you can kind of just look down and see all the buildings down the road, and it's very neat, like a very cool perspective. But yeah, my friend showed us around here, and then she chose the restaurant we went to, and the High Line was really, really neat. I wish it wasn't so cold when we were on it because it made it a little bit miserable with all the wind, but it was really cool seeing all the different apartment buildings and just the little murals like you can see here. It was just so neat and very different, and I've never been on anything like it. And I just loved how it was like a nature walk, but it was in the middle of the big city. And then we went to lunch at the Standard, and we actually waited way longer than we were supposed to, so they actually gave us our first round of drinks for free, even though most of us were not 21, so we just got other drinks. And then we went over to Italy, which is right outside the Flatiron building, and we walked all the way here, which was a pretty long walk from the Standard, but it was so amazing going to Italy, and I'm so glad we went because it was kind of a last minute decision. But we just got a sweet treat here, and there's tons of like cheese and pasta you can get, and just they sell gelato and amazing hot chocolate, and it smells amazing in there. I just got a chocolate chip gelato, and it was very good, but we did have to eat it inside. And right outside of Italy is the little Flatiron building, or it's not little, but it's really cool. Definitely one of the coolest parts of the trip. We almost didn't stop by it, but I made myself. It was so beautiful. And when we went over to Rockefeller Center, we actually were running at one point because we were so scared we were not going to make it for our tickets for sunset. The building is huge, and it's really just a very neat area. I loved all the flags when you go up to it. It's just very cool because it reminds you of how diverse the city is and how big the world is. And then seeing the skating rink was really cool too, but once we got to Top of the Rock, it was so amazing. And you can't really see the sunset that well here. It was so beautiful though once the sun set a little bit more. We did buy our tickets in advance, like I said, but just seeing the skyline and seeing all those buildings was just so amazing, and it's a moment I will forever cherish, and it was one of the best parts of the trip in my opinion. And it was crowded for sure, but I can't imagine how much worse it would be during a busy season. And the sun just gradually kept setting, and we were up there for a while even though it was freezing cold. There's a bunch of different areas you can go to where you can, you know, see the city without all the glass in front of you. And we got lots of good pictures in portrait mode on our iPhones and some without portrait mode, and just some great ones of the sunset that you can see on my Instagram highlights under the travel page. But it was super cool being able to see the city with the sunset and the skyline, and then also see it at night with all the lights like this. It was just so beautiful, and definitely one of my favorite parts of the trip, and I will remember it forever. And then we just kind of went outside of Rockefeller Center afterwards and looked around. I imagine the skating rink would have been a lot bigger, but I loved seeing all the little lights and the way it looked at night. It was so cute and beautiful. And then we ate dinner at Chopped because my dad really wanted to try it, and we missed our reservations for another restaurant. So it was really, really good though. It was a good place to try. And then we just headed home, and we stayed in New Jersey the night before just because we wanted to be close to the airport since we had an early morning flight. But it was the best trip ever, and I'm so thankful I went. And that was it for my little travel diary vlog thing to New York. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and it gave you all some insight into places you can see. It was one of the best trips of my life, probably the best trip of my life. I absolutely loved everything we saw, and it was just, the energy there is unreal. It really inspired me going there, and I just can't wait to go back. So yeah, be sure to subscribe, follow me on social media down below so you can keep up with my life and my travels and everything whenever I do get the chance to travel. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you guys in my next video.